Complications of blood transfusion. A transfusion reaction is a systematic response by the body to blood incompatible with that of the recipient. It is caused by RBC incompatibility or allergic sensitivity to the leukocytes, platelets and plasma protein components of the transfused blood or to the potassium or citrate preservative in the blood. Blood transfusions can also result in disease transmission. Several types of reactions can result from the blood transfusion. General adverse reactions include: number 1, acute hemolytic transfusion reaction. Usually it develops during the first 5 to 15 minutes but may develop any time during transfusion. In hemolytic transfusion reaction, the circulating red cells are ruptured with the release of free hemoglobin. Errors made in the laboratory test, clerical errors, and the administration of blood to the wrong patient are the most common causes. Hemolytic transfusion reaction takes place due to the ABO incompatibility and RH incompatibility on second or subsequent exposures, improper storage of blood, uncontrolled refrigeration resulting in freezing, storage beyond 21 days limit, warming of blood above 40 degree centigrade, or by exposure of red cells to dextrose solutions. The transfusion reactions is characterized by the onset of fever with chills, headache, dyspnea, cyanosis, chest pain, nausea, vomiting, increased pulse rate and respiratory rate, and hemoglobinuria, red urine. These symptoms may progress to shock with a resultant drop in blood pressure. Oliguria followed by anuria may signal renal failure. The nursing actions involved in transfusion reaction are: observe the patient closely for the first 10 minutes of transfusion since these reactions occur very rapidly. The rate of flow should be minimal. Discontinue the blood immediately when reaction is assessed. Inform the physician and implement treatment as prescribed by the physician. Inform the laboratory to do grouping and cross-matching of the blood. The donor blood is sent back to the laboratory and a specimen of the recipient blood is retested to confirm the diagnosis. Maintain intravenous infusion with 5% glucose or saline using a new IV set. Large quantities of fluid is given to promote diuresis and to counteract shock. Monitor vital signs every 15 minutes to assess shock and collapse. Record the fluid intake and output to assess the degree of kidney functions. Indwelling catheter is put into to monitor the urinary output. Oxygen inhalation is given to relieve dyspnea. Allay patient anxiety with reassurance. The medical treatment may include the following: large quantities of fluid to promote diuresis, to promote shock and collapse, and to prevent hemoglobin from precipitating. Mannitol, an osmotic diuretic, to counteract oliguria and to increase the flow of tubular fluids and to prevent hemoglobin plaques in the kidneys. Heparinization to prevent intravascular coagulation. Oxygen and epinephrine to treat dyspnea and wheezing. Sedation to treat restlessness and apprehension. blood transfusion with properly matched blood to control shock, hemodialysis for complete renal failure. Delayed hemolytic transfusion reaction occur due to incompatibility of RBC antigens other than ABO group. It develops days to weeks after transfusion and is characterized by decreasing hemoglobin level and persistent low-grade fever. Mostly it develops in previous transfusion recipient or multiparous clients. Many a time this reaction is missed. If known, inform the physician and blood bank. Pyrogenic reaction. It develops immediately or within 6 hours after transfusion. Pyrogenic reaction frequently results from the pyrogenic substances in the transfusion tubing, but this incident is greatly reduced with the disposable sets. However, bacterial contamination may occur from improper preparation of the donor site, not following strict aseptic techniques, and from improper refrigeration. It can also occur due to antigen-antibody reactions to WBCs or platelets contained in blood product. Pyrogenic reactions are characterized by fever with chills, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, backache, delirium, shock, and renal failure. This type of transfusion reaction is becoming less common owing to proper screening of donors, improved techniques in the collection of donor blood and its storage, and by the use of disposable sterile pyrogen-free transfusion sets. Next, allergic reaction. It develops any time during transfusion or within 1 hour after transfusion. Allergic reactions are thought to be sensitivity of the individual to a plasma protein in the transfused blood. It is characterized by rashes, itching, laryngeal edema, bronchial spasm in severe cases. The treatment normally consists of an injection of antihistamine and corticosteroids as necessary. Since allergic reactions may be mistaken for hemolytic reaction, a thorough investigation should be done to exclude such a possibility. Anaphylactic reaction. It is extremely rare and can be life-threatening. It develops immediately after transfusion of only few milliliters of blood. This is caused by an idiosyncratic reaction in client with immunoglobulin IgA deficiency sensitized to IgA through previous transfusion or pregnancy. It is characterized by severe respiratory and cardiovascular collapse with dyspnea, tachypnea, tachycardia, hypotension, cyanosis. Severe gastrointestinal disturbances occur with nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and cramping. Immediately, transfusion is stopped and resuscitative measures are started. Physician is informed, so also blood bank. Vital signs are monitored and recorded frequently every 15 minutes until the client recovers. Transmission of infectious diseases. Blood donors who have no symptoms of disease may transfer the disease organism through blood. Such diseases include HIV, malaria, hepatitis, and syphilis. The donor who gives history of jaundice are refused. Donors who have had malaria may give transfusion after 5 years of the last attack of disease. All the unit of blood collected must undergo serological testing and HIV screening to prevent the risk for the acquired bloodborne infections. Concerning syphilis, the causative organism Treponema pallida will not survive storage in the temperature of 4 to 6 degrees centigrade beyond 48 to 72 hours. Besides the above said complications, there are certain risks associated with blood transfusion. These include circulatory overload. Giving whole blood to persons with severe chronic anemia is extremely hazardous because they need the RBC and not the other components of the blood. Patients who have a heart condition, that is heart failure, in addition to anemia, are particularly vulnerable to circulatory overload. To help alleviate the dangers of circulatory overload in the patients with anemia and cardiac complications, the doctor may order administration of a small volume of packed red cells in place of the whole blood. Additionally, the physician may attempt to reduce the patient's plasma volume before the transfusion by administration of diuretics to promote elimination of the large amount of water by withdrawing an amount of blood which equals in volume of blood ordered for the transfusion, exchange transfusion. Other precautions that are to be taken are: administer the blood very slowly to prevent overloading the heart and pulmonary edema. Check the patient's pulse every 15 minutes for tachycardia, an indication that the heart is overworking as a pump. Examine the patient's neck vein for fullness and indication of circulatory overload. If possible, assess the venous pressure. Elevation of central venous pressure over 10 cm of H2O indicates a circulatory overload. Observe the patient for symptoms of respiratory distress and listen for the sound of rales. Give a minimum quantity of blood at a time. If necessary, the blood transfusion may be repeated after an interval. Stop the transfusion at once and inform the doctor if the patient develops tachycardia, symptoms of circulatory overload, pulmonary edema, raised venous pressure, etc. Hyperkalemia. Stored blood may cause hyperkalemia. Blood that is 1 day old has a plasma potassium content of approximately 7 milliequivalent per liter, and blood stored for 21 days has a plasma potassium level of 23 milliequivalent per liter. This increased potassium level is due to the increased destruction of the RBCs. At the end of the 21 days, 20% to 30% of cells are destroyed. As the cells are destroyed, potassium enters the plasma. Since the major intracellular cation is potassium, so the potassium level of the client receiving several pints of blood must be frequently measured. If serum potassium level is high, to reduce it, ion exchange resin such as sodium polystyrene sulfonate or caoxalate or hemodialysis is given. Hypocalcemia. It develops due to citrate toxicity. During massive transfusion, the citrate in the blood combines with the ionized calcium. The preservative CPD added to the blood contains more citrate than is actually needed to combine with calcium in the blood collected for transfusion. Therefore, when transfused blood enters the bloodstream, the preservative combines with ionized calcium and tetany can result. The risk of hypocalcemia increases with the number of blood transfusion the client receives. High level of citrate can cause cardiac arrest. The treatment consists of administration of calcium gluconate to prevent or eliminate the toxic effect by neutralizing acidosis. Hemosiderosis or iron overload can develop in client receiving frequent blood transfusions. 1 milliliter of blood contains 1 mg of iron. Hemosiderosis is an abnormal deposit of iron in a variety of tissues, usually in the form of hemosiderin, an iron-rich pigment that is the product of hemolysis. Clients at risk for developing this condition are those with chronic extensive destruction of RBC such as anemia, thalassemia major and splenic dysfunction. Clients at risk of developing this condition are those with chronic extensive destruction of RBC such as anemia, thalassemia major and splenic dysfunction. Other complications are infiltration and hematoma at the site of the needle, thrombophlebitis, pulmonary embolism. Transfusion reaction are life-threatening, but with prompt nursing intervention, the physiological stability can be maintained. The following measures should be undertaken in case of suspected reaction. Stop the transfusion immediately, notify the physician, connect the IV line with 0.9% normal saline. Be with the client, observing the sign and symptom and monitoring the vital signs till they are steady. Get ready the emergency drugs such as vasopressor, antihistamine, steroid and fluid. Prepare for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Obtain a urine specimen and send to the laboratory. Save the blood container and tubing for return to the blood bank. Document the reaction and the measures carried out.